A lot of people are nervous about adjusting the truss rod on their guitar, but it's actually quite simple. The reason we might want to do this is because the strings will pull on the neck to create a bow in the neck. So we need to counteract this tension by adjusting the truss rod that will pull it back and make it as straight as we want. We want a little bit of relief to give room for the strings to vibrate as you play them. But this means if you have too much relief, the strings will buzz as you play the higher frets, because we basically have a slope in the fretboard that they will buzz against. Conversely, if the neck is too straight, there will be no room for the strings to vibrate, and as we play the lower frets, the strings will buzz. As a rule of thumb, you generally start out with about the thickness of a business card on the 12th fret when we fret it at the 1st and the 24th. So essentially what I'm aiming for, I put a capo here on the 1st fret, and as I'm pressing down the string on the 24th, I sight on the 12th fret and press the string against it. And I can see about how much gap there is there. I will then use this 4mm key that came with the guitar, inserted on this end, and by turning it 1/4 of a turn at a time, no more, and continuously checking the amount of relief, I will quickly find what makes this work for me. And the truss rod is now in a neutral position, so it's not helping the neck to go either direction. In the rare case where the pull of the strings is not enough to introduce the required relief, we need to use the truss rod in the reverse direction to introduce a bow. I do that by turning the truss rod key counterclockwise. So it's now starting to engage. And as I turn it 1/4 of a turn at a time, you'll see how the clearance is increasing. The relief is increasing, which is not what we want in this case, of course. So we're back in the neutral position. It's starting to engage. And this is what happens as we tighten the truss rod. 1/4 of a turn at a time. You see how the relief is decreasing. And the string is moving closer and closer to the 12th fret. To the point where it's actually touching the 12th fret. And it's getting pretty tight to turn. This is way too straight, of course, so we back it off again 1/4 of a turn at a time. Now the amount of relief that you want is subjective and depends on your playing style, your string gauges, etc. So you just have to experiment and find what works for you. There we are. Happy adjusting.